Alright, we're back. Full ball vision is back. We've had a bit of a hiatus, but a bit of a break. From blindfold chess, not from chess. I mean, that would be foolish. I had a break from blindfold chess. I'm playing the game with real pieces. And a real board. Real opponents, you know. Human beings. And we had a fun time at the Kilkenny International Chess Master. A fun time, but a dismal performance. Shoddy. Slipshod. Rough. You know, not the best. Not the best form we were in. But what can you do, you know? Pieces, they get in the way. They get in the way. Anyway, we've got a fun evening of live blindfold chess in store for you this evening. And we've got special guest Tim Smith 121 joining us once again from sunny Yorkshire. So it's Yorkshire versus Kildare. I'm coming to you from the lovely county of Kildare, Ireland. And You know, we don't mess around on the stream. We just jump straight in. So we're going to move into some blindfold chess immediately. So I think Tim Smith 121 is on the scene. Here we go, and let's kick off. So once again, this is live blindfold chess. I can't see the pieces, but my opponent can, so I can see the board. Just you can see in the inset of the webcam. Just waiting for Tim Smith 121 to make the first move. It's just getting settled, isn't he? Just sat down. He'll be having his brew. Putting his brew in the right place, you know, so he can easily just lift it. Bring it to his mouth and drink. Put the cup down and play the move E5. So here we go. It's good to be back. Blindfold, live chess, full board vision. Alright, so we're in Italian. Who'd have thought that? 3 moves would be in an Italian opening. Uncharted territory, full board vision. It's not like we have this opening in almost every game. Oh no, it's a rarity. It's a rare occurrence. In fact, I think it's only happened once in the last sort of 4 or 5 days, to be honest. When was the last stream? Days ago? Right, so we're in Italian F6. You know, I've never seen this move in the Italian. F6. This is cheeky. This is very cheeky, because if we haven't been inserted the moves bishop c4 and knight c6, you can actually go and take that. But we can't do that now. Anyway, f6 looks interesting. I feel like we should not react to it. It's tempting to do something, you know, a bit fancy, or to kind of go a bit mad. But let's just play d4. Let's just play d4 and attack that center. I'm going to castle next, probably. That's the plan. Get the king to safety, develop the pieces. Just try not to lose on time. Try not to hang a piece. Alright, here comes the move. d6. Now then, this is tricky, because if we trade, which looks enticing, and they get the nice open f-file when they castle, so I feel like I don't really want to... Hang on, this thing is open. This thing is that king is open. King is open. Is there... You know, this seems really silly. Is there a knight g5? Fg. Queen at g6. Nah, it's too soon. Right, let's just castle. Because... this move d6 felt like it was tempting us to try. Okay, so in comes the bishop g4, so pinning the knight on f3 to the queen on d1. Moreover, the knight is the defender of d4, so we should probably trade. I think we should trade. Otherwise, a knight might take on d4, and that could be a problem. So let's do it. Now, probably f takes, and that's worked out excellently for black. Okay, d takes. Okay, not what I was expecting. So let's recalibrate. Okay, so the queen trade is kind of... That's alright for us, apart from that. Gonna get captured. But when they trade queens, it just improves their rook. And leaves us with this, saddled with this knight here. It's a bit of a nightmare, isn't it? Well, that's strong. I would say it was a nightmare. But it's not what we wanted from the opening. Not what we wanted. Right, okay. Are we worried about this knight here being captured? Frankly, yes, is the answer. I want to make this move bishop e2. I think I'm going to have to do it. Oof. Nah, it's not looking good, is it? Play knight. We could play knight d2. There's a solution. Nah, knight d4. We play c3? No, okay. We play queen e2, knight d4. Okay, we just got to trade. Just got to do it. Then at least we can play knight d2. And then h3. Now then, I would have thought rook takes queen was automatic, so I'm missing... okay, yep, there it is. Alright, so what have we got? I think the pawns are here. Got this knight here, which is pinned. Oh, well, it's not pinned, but it's attacked by the bishop. We've got a bishop on c4, knight on c6, and this rook here on d8. Ah, it's like positional mastery, isn't it? Knight d2, can we do that? Looks so weird. Looks so weird. I don't see how else we deal with this problem. And it is a problem. Okay, maybe we're just getting outplayed. Is e4 hanging? e4 is... No, sorry, it's not. There's no knight on c5, it's on c6. Cool, so e4 is not hanging. Alright. Knight d2. Knight bd2. Don't like it. But you can't have everything you want in this life. Compromise. We are going to play h3 next, solve our back rank problems and try to unravel. Hopefully we'll get a trade on f3 and then we can just bring our bishop to e3 and claim everything's okay. And the good news is that against bishop b4 we can play c3. I'm not sure that is good news, but it's something. And a knight line on d4 will just get snapped. Still rook d4. Maybe then knight b3 and bishop e3 and we should be okay. So at least we've got a plan to try and get out of this alive. And we've got a good idea of where everything is. Once again, let's not forget where the pawns are. This f6 move is just wow. Didn't see that coming. That's the pawn structure. Completely open d file, which black owns. Now they're coming in. Knight b4. Want to take on c2. Causing us all kinds of problems. Okay, maybe we can give them c2 because the king is still in the open. How can we? Maybe we can play c3. Will the knight kind of be trapped there? Because we can play rook b1. But I think we should play c3. Right? I think we should play c3. Is the knight going to land on d2? D3, sorry, or c2. One or the other, I'm sure. I'm hoping it goes to c2, because then rook b1, and I don't really know where it's going from there. It lands on d3, it is threatening to take our bishop. That's not really a problem. The knights protect each other, kind of superfluous. But the bishop being a defender of d2 is not really super important. Okay, so I'm happy about that. Alright, b2 is not hanging. So now I think we can just play h3. And I think we've got away with it. This knight is kind of entrenched, but I think black needs a couple of moves to get their h8 rook into the game. Okay, am I missing something here? That looked like it was kind of okay for us. Our undeveloped piece got captured, or a piece that was very well developed. Okay, now the bishop retreats, so we can actually just play d4 and I guess we can even think about moving this knight. Okay, do we want to play g4? So committal move. I think we do, so I want to play knight b3. Do we want to play knight b3? Look, committal. Let's go. Okay, bishop's probably going to f7. Will it go to g6? I think it's going to f7. Tim Smith 121. Playing well. Playing very well. Got the bishop pair. Just a bit undeveloped on the king side. But otherwise, it looks very good. Now, e4 looks like a juicy square. I'm going to land... Oh, do I? Or maybe, actually, here's what we should do. A2 is attacked, but I think we should give A2 up. I think we should give it up. So I think we should play Rook F. Oh, yeah. Oof. Just. Oof. You know what I thought then? If they take on A2, play Rook A1, I thought Bishop B3 was a move. Attacking our other rook, but of course we've got a knight in D2, so it doesn't work. But we should be aware that that might work if the knight goes to E4. But we can always trade, so... Okay, H4 comes in, attacking G5. Okay, fair enough. I feel like we can push this now and start being annoying. Right? That's an annoying move. It's a very annoying move to face, I think. The reason being that if you capture, then E5's hanging. So yes, we had a target here on G4. Maybe H5 was... An idea is to, obviously, improve the rook up here on H8. The advance looks a bit problematic. Okay, at least we've got places to go now. What's the pawn structure? Let's just reaffirm. Reaffirm? Is that even a word? Reaffirm? Oof. Looks like this, doesn't it? It's a mess. It's a total mess. Maybe we could try and go via H4 to F5. Don't know. Probably want to go... Oof. I don't know, to be honest. F6. No, that's G6. Okay, but isn't this pawn on F6 now just hanging? Isn't it hanging? And once that hangs, so does E5. Oh, knight takes. Oh, I completely forgot that. There's a knight on the board. I don't understand. So I've got one guy here. My piece down. I thoroughly don't understand. I'm sure that they've got bishop. I don't understand. What the hell is going on? Oh my word, I've had a bishop on c4 this whole time. Protected by the d2 knight. Was there not? Oh my word. I had no idea about that. Wow. Okay, now we can take on f7. Followed by knight takes e5. Oh, that is incredible that I missed that. Forgotten that I had a piece there. Ridiculous. King takes. Now I've got knight takes e5 and the problem is... Hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. Right, it's protected. The e4 is protected, so I think we can come in on e5. And now we really need to take stock of the position after this move. Ooh. Okay, so... Yeah. The f6 and f6 and e5 fell. This is the black pawn structure. White pawn structure is like this, right? King went to g7, fair. Protecting g6. Can we now play knight f3 and we can start trading rooks? Think so. We could also move over there. I think this is okay. By the way, we've got a pawn on c3. So we actually look like this, right? And the black pawn structure, I think... like this. All right, so the king's on g7, the bishop's on f8, the knight's on f6, and the rooks are like so. We've got... Okay, so the move was bishop to e7. Okay, that's a good move. I want to trade, but then they'll own the e-file. D-file, excuse me. So, what do we do about this? You know what I think we can do? Rook d4. Are we worried about this bishop? Is it in our face? It kind of is. This pawn is hanging. E4 is just hanging, mate. It's hanging. What are you doing? What am I doing? Other than tactics, g6. I go knight h4, but then this will be captured. I could go knight g5, which threatens a fork. That's, but then it'll just trade. Okay, the entry point is covered. What do we do? What do we do? Right, let's just play rook d1. Right, bring the knight to d4. Really no idea what's going on here. No idea. Apart from that we're a pawn up. We just need to trade all the pieces off. Bring the king to light square. Try to play an endgame. Tense. 1.5 minutes down. Tim Smith 121. Playing well, developing the pieces. Owning the D file. Alright, so okay, I can take that, can I not? And then threaten... No, it's protected by the rook. The rook is open. File is open. Right, okay, now we should... What should we do? I should bring this knight to d4. I think that's fine. Protected. Then bring the rook to d1. We are threatening a fork, incidentally. The g7 king and the d8 rook are forkable, with their e6 being unprotected. Bishop on e7, knight on f6. Okay, so that's interesting because... Okay, let's try... Swap some pieces, I think. Can we go here? I feel like we can. Alright, f5 is obviously off cards. I feel like we can actually go here. Oh no, then we've got... Okay, let's just improve the rook, because that's necessary. Well, now the pawn's on h4, the knight should swing back to g4. Then we can push e5, which is a fork. Double attack of the f6 knight and the d6 rook. So we want knight g4 next, because I think... Well, maybe you don't do that, because you're quite happy that your rook is on the open file, or the semi-open file. Or has a life behind the h-pawn. Maybe you want to be pushing g5, I don't know. That would allow knight f5 check. Fork, actually, so you can't do that. That's a difficult thing. This knight on d4 is pretty good, isn't it? It's a good piece. Good piece. Okay, clear. I get it. Attacking e5. I think it's clear. Okay, I'm going to drop back to g4, where I threaten e5. I still threaten it even though it's protected, because it's protected twice. So e5 is coming. Here my e5 are coming. What have we got? The position looks okay, I think. I think it looks okay. Good. Traded. Well done. It's a good move. We could throw that in. I don't think we should. Now the H-pawn is running, but we have just recovered. Have we recovered anything? Yeah, we've kind of got our pawns in shape, haven't we? We can throw in F4 and stuff. Probably our king on H1 is safe. The knight's on D4. Did we attack the rook there? I think we attacked the rook. Yeah, we did. Okay, so we could probably play E5 next. Ah, very nice. Okay, so this is attacked. But I think F4 is a good move now. Because E4 is defended, right? Yeah, so I think F4 is just a straight up good move. And the rook needs to find a home. I don't think it's finding a home on the 4th rank. So, and it's not going to E6, and it's not going to E7. It's trapped. The rook is trapped. The rook is almost trapped. So, what are your choices? Either got C5 or H5, which is H5. Okay, now then. Okay, so this is attacking H2. But hang on a second. We could play E5. Right, let's not underestimate that. I think we should. I just feel like this has to be the right idea. Then F5 threatens F6, which would fork E7 and G7, if I understand the position correctly. Ah, no, there's a pawn on G6, isn't there? Pawn on G6, that's annoying. Okay, but never mind. Maybe we should be focusing on H4. Anyway, we want to play A3 so that the rook's not going to get active and start picking off our pawns. Tense. We're in a time scramble, as always. Hang on. Yes, but what? There's an interesting move here. I think we can win. I think we can give this pawn away because we're actually threatening knight 5 if this guy moves. Check, picking off the rook. So let's just, you know what? Let's play a sneaky move that might allow that to happen. Rook E2. Rook takes A2. Knight F5. GF. Rook takes D5. He's seen it. No, he's seen it. He played it already. The idea. Oh, he's gone for it. Knight F5 check. I think it has to. I think it has to be. If this is wrong, it's wrong. I think the king's on G7. Incidentally, we defended B2, which was part of the idea. Okay, then so I'm expecting GF. I'm going to take on. Oh. Now we can take on E7, but we can also just take this rook. Aha, that was a clever move, the king retreat, because I almost took on E7. Now they'll take this. Then I'm just going to double. And hopefully we've got everything where we think it is. Do we take with the G4? I think we should take. I think we should. Or we could advance. That's an idea. Now let's take. Okay, so we've got this weird pawn structure. And they've got this. Okay, so light squares, right? Stuff should be on light squares. Because they've got a dark square bishop. Where did they put the king? F8 or F7? We need to know that. Time is running low. Tim Smith 121. Got to make a move. Difficult position. Just got there. King was on F8. Good game. That was a good fight. That was a good fight. Enjoyed that. Let's jump into analysis mode. Good game. So we're just gonna have a little bit of analysis, and then we'll play another one probably. That was tense. That was tense. Good. It's a good bit of tension. All right, let's drop back to the start. So this was a really interesting opening in this game. E4, E5, knight F3, knight C6, bishop C4, and now F6. And what strikes me about this opening, and I'm going to put this on the board, is that if you play F6 immediately, this is a well-known blunder. It's called the Damiano defense. History has not been kind to Damiano. He's almost like the classic chess fool in a way, because this defense is named after him. You can just take this pawn. Sack the knight for 2 pawns. And the problem here is that the natural G6 is take on E5, and it's a fork. You fork the king and the rook. So you can't do that. And it means that king then, after queen H4, has to come to E7. And then white just gets all the pieces out really. So bishop C4 is not the move. Alright, sorry, queen E5 check first, of course. Then the king has to go to F7, then you get bishop C4 with a check. And yeah, black's just getting hammered there. But what Tim Smith 121 did was bring the knight out first, so defending E5. And then only after bishop C4 played knight F6. Which is great, because now, you know, this just doesn't work, because he's protected. Alright, so I played D4, it's probably an okay move. D6, considered trading here. Figured that you just take back with the F pawn and with the D pawn actually. Okay. Is this not good? Okay, apparently not. Knight G5. Okay. Knight G5 coming in. Guess this is the whole idea of F6. Thought about this line. Didn't really see anything there, so I just thought keep the tension. Castles. Before, and now things started getting airy for me. I felt. This didn't look good. I think black's got a... The opening's gone really well for black, I think, here. It looks good. Okay, so instead of that, C3, that's a good move. That's a hard move too. It's a hard move to spot, because typically you want the knight on C3, not a pawn. But you just strengthen the center, I guess, and then you've got easy development. Bishop E3, knight BD2, rook E1, rook D1, H3. And the bishop can always drop back to E2 if you've got any problems with ever with D4. The C3, that's a nice addition. Okay, and this was, I think already black's in good shape. So this was interesting. You know, maybe here you want to finish the development perhaps before going out on the queen side. Not sure. You do though. Maybe D6. Maybe knight H6 or knight E7, bringing the knight to G6. I don't know. Somehow I think the king wants to get castled. But knight B4 attacking B2. C2, excuse me. Okay, now the knight gets into D3, and this was looking amazing for black. That's a major success. What was the antidote to this then? Engine says knight E1. I mean, this retreating knight move is so hard to find, but then you protect C2, you protect D3, and you're coming in next with C3, driving the knight away. What a brilliant move. Knight E1. Retreating knight moves are so hard to find. Okay, instead I played C3, the knight came in, and well, engine says black's better. So slightly, but definitely has the edge. Okay, so this move was unexpected, and I think the knight here is very strong. And you know, if white has to trade this bishop for it, you know, that's going to be a major success for black. So for example, you know, if we just retreat here, I think black's a lot better in that position. I think keeping the knight on d3 was probably a good call. And retreating the bishop somewhere, I'm not sure. Engine likes bishop c8, which is an impossible move to play as a human, I'd say. But yeah, just retreating the bishop back and perhaps challenging this diagonal might have been an idea. Taking on c1, I think, kind of helps white because their bishop was hemmed in on c1, and now it's not there anymore. So no problem to solve. All right, and then the bishop retreats. Wasn't sure about that move. Bishop f7, and now I completely forgot that I had a bishop on c4 for about 5 moves. I was very lucky that I didn't blunder that. This is great, just aggression on the king's side, just trying to make this rook, you know, develop the rook in place. Brilliant. e5, okay. So, bishop f7, okay, I took on f7, or f6 first. I think e5 is hanging, and that's perhaps the problem with, in this position, excuse me, pushing g6, that I think does lose a pawn. Okay, that all seemed fair. King g7, knight f3. Okay, bishop develops. I missed something here apparently. Okay, I did think about playing knight g5. Apparently that's the move. What's the idea then? So I have knight g5, and of course we're threatening f7 fork, but the fork's never really a thing, is it? We're also threatening e6 fork. But okay, I guess the idea is that black trades to get out of the fork. White's just in great shape because they own the d file now. Okay, and these knights are pretty good. Okay, so knight g5 was a good move, but I rejected that, or didn't really see how good it was, and this doesn't really make a great impression. But e4 was hanging for a long time in this game. Okay, h4, knight d4 found, good move. Rook d6, best move. d1, okay, and it looks now that white just about has to stabilize the position, and they got the extra pawn. Knight g4, perhaps not the best move, but trying to simplify things. f4, and here I thought the rook was trapped, or at least I saw it couldn't go in these directions. I probably had to go to either f4 or, sorry, c5 or a5. a5 makes a lot of sense. Attacking a2. And we just start pushing. Okay, and here managed to see that f5 was a discovery, and that this pawn therefore couldn't be captured, or shouldn't be captured. I think was perhaps the move that did it. All right, and here very difficult position, and yeah, good game, very good game. All right. Let's see if another one is forthcoming. Good game, enjoyed that one. Tension, a lot of tension. Now then, what color was I in that one? White, so I should be black. There we go. So I'm just going to send special guest Tim Smith 121 challenge, as you can see from my excellent scene selection there. But yeah, calling out all all friends of the stream. If any of you would like to, at any point, jump in and play some live blindfold chess. Get in touch. A member of my support team will reach out to you. They're working around the clock, so I'm sure they'll answer your email. Minutes. You could just wait at the machine or your phone, or however you send your emails, and you'll receive a reply from my communications center interfrastically. That means very quickly, in fact, imperceptibly fast. Right, here we go. So, just answering the chats, you know. I'm just answering some technical questions right now. It appears that the stream may not be visible, but I can see, according to my media team, the stream is up and running, so that's good. And the viewership is through the roof. I can tell you that. We've got people all over the world watching. We've got 13 people in Vanuatu. Can you believe that? That's how worldwide we are. Oh, someone's just dropped in from the Cayman Islands. And here we are, in an Italian, on the black side of the Italian. Knight C3. Now, here we go. We're about to uncork a fork. That's right. We're going to uncork a fork. Let's insert the corkscrew. Now, knight takes e4. Looks good. But we've got d5. Forking. So what quite often does here is plays bishop takes f7. They go, okay, they're going to win the piece back. But that's not a good idea. This is probably the best idea. Tim Smith 121 finds the move. So now we go d5. Bishop b3, and we're going to take this e4 knight. Now, we need to remember that the bishop's on b3. There's a knight on f3, and we've got a knight on c6. Now, I'm thoroughly confused. Okay, the confusion for me, and by the way, you can see the blindfold board now. What do you see before? Oh, yeah, just... Good. Just, you know, live repair. Shout outs to my live repair team. I think that was knight back to g1, right? But the problem for me is I can only see the highlighted squares, and now I'm second guessing, like, was the knight on f3 through that whole line? Did I misunderstand the opening? And as the knight come out to f3, or did it just go back to g1? Because knight back to g1... Ah. Okay, the knight was attacked. I get it. The knight was attacked. It went back to g1. And the principle at play here is that because the bishop went to b3 rather than b5, where it would have pinned the c6 knight, that would have allowed knight takes e5. The knight had to go back to b1. Okay, great. So where does that leave us? I think our pawn structure is looking like this. And black's pawn structure... I think we won a clean pawn. It's still like, it's like this. I think we won a clean pawn, but it's sitting here doubled. Okay, so should we play bishop c5? I think we should play bishop c5. I'm gonna go bishop c5. Oh, hang on. Did we allow some bishop f7 and queen h5? No, because there's a pawn on e5, so there's none of that action. Queen f3 would threaten a mate, but I think we got queen f6. Oh, but there's a pawn on e4, so there's no queen f3. Anyway, okay, of course. All right, so here we are. We're 2 minutes down on time, or a minute and a half. I mean, I think the position's decent. I think it's decent. Right, okay, so we've got d3. d3 challenging the e4 pawn. We could trade. We could trade. Perhaps we should trade, but can we instead play queen f6? Queen f6 would threaten queen f2 mate. Yep. And if bishop e3, I guess then we can trade. Takes. I think queen f6 is just a nice way to develop. So let's do it. I think the knight wants to get into d4, where we'll attack the b3 bishop. And we want to do everything we can to try and milk the most out of this advantage that we've got from getting this pawn to e4, which has driven the knight back to g1. f3 played. Okay. Interesting. So if we take on f3, probably queen f3 is being played, because on knight f3 we've got bishop g4. Interestingly, I think knight d4 might be a good move here. The reason I like knight d4 is because fe, which looks natural, unfortunately this loses a piece because knight takes b3 and queen f2 is mate. Or is a mate threat as well. Knight d4. And then if c3, I guess I'm going to take here, sack the knight. Because taking on g2 is going to win this rook. I think knight d4 might be a good move. If d takes, that's a different kettle of fish. How does that look? Yeah, I don't like the look of that somehow. I don't like the look of that. Okay, so do we have to allow a trade of queens? I don't really want to trade queens. Yeah, I don't want to trade queens at all. I guess knight d4. If ed, we could castle long. No, we can't. That bishop's still on c8, so we can't do that. We're running out of time, which is not good. Let's just keep the pawn. Queen f3, queen takes f3, knight takes f3, bishop g4. Gf. Okay, wasn't expecting gf. Jeff is in the building. Okay, so what's going on? Pawn structure is like... Hang on, no. Nothing there. For white. These are white's pawns, and these are black's pawns. Hang on, can't we play queen h4? Check. Queen h4 check. Where's the king go? I'm guessing the king can't go to f1 to get mated on f2. Queen h4. Similarly, I don't think you can go to e2 because queen f2 is mate. So I think on queen h4 you've got to go king d2. And on king d2, maybe there's queen f4. Queen f4. There's no queen e3. Anyway, king d2 looks like an improvement for us. My God, if I got that, I think this is a check. Now that the pawn isn't on g2, it's on f3. There's no g3 blocking the check. So queen h4 check. And I think it's king d2. Ooh, are there some... King d2. Hang on, the queen's on d1, so actually... Oh... Is there a queen f2? Okay, there's... I feel like there must be a mate here. The king went to d2, so there's a bunch of different moves. Right, let's say queen f2. If queen e2, which looks attractive, there's bishop e3. That forces the king here. And then there's actually a move, knight b5. And I feel like, yeah, I feel like that's probably gonna be mate. So in queen f2, probably you go knight e2, but that also looks difficult because the same thing happens. Even worse, f3 is hanging in that variation. King gets to c3. And there's no knight b5, that's ridiculous. No, but we can go like this and get the king to e3 and stuff. I'm going to go queen f2 because I think, if nothing else, we're going to get to trade stuff. Queen e2 looks attractive, but there's bishop e3, which will drive the king to c3. Okay, yeah, good idea. Okay, so we can go queen e3. Well, actually, I think this is getting difficult, isn't it? Queen e3, king e1, and then queen f3 attacks the rook. I think that's what we should do. On c5. If we go here, they're going to get here. From there, I don't quite see the follow-up. So let's not dilly-dally. I think here we pick up the f3 pawn with a tempo on the rook. And also, probably rook f1 will be played now. Yeah, rook f1. Okay, so what should we do now? On rook f1, we can't go back to e3, by the way, because we just get trolleyed, but we can probably go to g2. Can they play knight f4? Can't take this. Is there any brilliancy with knight d4? Like, oh, there nearly is, you know. Takes, knight takes, check. Only the f1 square. Oh, you're joking. Bishop h3. Is that a mate? That's a mate. That is incredible. That is incredible. I can play knight d4. Rook f3. Knight takes f3. The only move is king f1 and bishop h3 is mate? That can't be real. I must be dreaming. Knight d4. Queen sack. Rook f3. Knight takes f3. King can't go to d2. It's covered by the knight. Only square for the king, therefore, is f1, and then bishop h3 is a mate. I mean, is that real? Is that for real? It does look like I've just hung my queen. That is so clever, because now it's a check. But it doesn't change things, does it? It doesn't change things. I take this, then that's a check, but then the mate still holds, right? The queen can't come out. I'm gonna pre-move it. I got it. Did I do it? Did I sack my queen for mate? Pre-move bishop h3. That is my greatest moment in blindfold chess, for sure. Look at that, queen sack for mate. Can't beat it, can you? Good game. Good game. Just gonna calm down. Calm down, will you? Jesus. Right, let's rewind and bring up the analysis board. So where did we begin? Once again, an Italian. That was a good game. That was a good fight. The Italian. So, knight c3 in the Italian. Now, Italian players from the black side always kind of like to see this move because it gives them this fork trick. And that's always what they want to see. And the reason is that, well, there's a bunch of positions that can arise, so let's just put them all on the board. The first one is if you go, oh, hang on a minute, you know, this d5 is coming, so I'm going to take on f7. Recover the piece this way. Then typically what happens here is, well, black erects a big center, has the bishop pair, drives the knight back, drives the other knight back, ends up in g1, and then that's actually a really interesting move, h5, because this pawn cannot be captured. The reason being, what's the reason? I think it's queen h4. Queen h4, double attack on the knight. Knight has to go back to g3, and then there are all sorts of tactics. Bishop g4. I think it's just it's a mess. White's in big trouble. So that's the kind of thing that can happen if you give black the bishop pair with this move bishop f7. If you're not going to go into that line, there's a couple of things that you can do. So you take the knight, there's the fork, and then probably the two most natural moves are bishop b5, so that after this knight is captured, you can take here. But that doesn't work, unfortunately. There's an amazing line, queen g5. And in fact, probably we can put the whole thing on the board. We're attacking g2, and that means that, I mean, the attack here, well, it doesn't work because b5. Bishop is hanging. So what do you try and do, I think? Do you play rook f1? I think this is what you would do. I think you go d4, right? So you protect this knight, right? And they take here. You play rook f1. This is the line. Black comes out bishop d6. You take the knight. They go a6. Hitting this bishop. The bishop drops back, and it's very important the bishop ends up on the a4 square. Black can then castle. The knight starts to make its way back, so we chop it off. And then there's bishop g4. There we go. Hitting the queen. The queen tries to sort of step away somehow, like maybe queen e4. I think there are problems on the d file. So anyway, f3 is played. A lot of opening theory here, but there's going to be you'll see why I'm demonstrating all this. ef. This is a big threat. So you step away from that. d2, f2. Guess here. Rook f2. Nah, so it's queen f2. This is the whole point. Now it's very important that the bishop is on a4, because we've got this fork. And the beautiful detail in all of this, which is the thing that I always love, is at the end of this line, it looks like... So what just happened? I mean, black just won, what, a pawn? But they left the king in the center of the board. Right, so black now has a very, very good position, but it looks like rook f4 is a fork. But black has the retreating move, queen d7, defending the bishop, which that detail is really lovely. All right, anyway, that's why, in terms of opening theory, here you can't go bishop b5. That line is all completely forced. Instead, if you want to play this, you've got to go bishop d3. Takes, and then bishop d6. And this position is completely even, I would say. It looks pretty even. So that's probably the way to play if you're going to play knight c3 here. And allow this fork trick. Probably Probably best to avoid knight c3, I think, and choose something else at this point, because it does allow black to just equalize with the fork trick. Okay, so what happened? We played d5, bishop b3, and now when we take the knight, it took me a while to understand that this knight had gone back to g1, because it was attacked. Okay, bishop c5, d3, attacking the center, play queen f6, which threatens a mate. And here I was saying queen f3 for ages, which was nonsense because there's a pawn on e4. f3, so interfering in a sense with the queen's attack on f2. We took on f3. ed apparently was better, leaving this on f3 so that the knight can't occupy that square. Okay, and I think this was what allowed the queen in. I think recapturing with the queen, that's what I was thinking was going to happen. So that if I do recapture, the knight comes out, and yes, white is a pawn down, but at least they're getting developed in that position. So this is what I was expecting. I might have tried not to trade queens somehow. I don't really want my pawns busted up, so probably I would have gone into this. And probably bishop g4, and we're just black is slightly better with the extra. Okay, instead we're allowed to play queen h4, queen f2. The queen g5 apparently was way better. So why is queen g5 so much better? King goes to e1. Our queen is attacked. We go to g2. Look at that. We threaten the rook and we threaten a mate. That's beautiful. Queen g5 was much better. Didn't see that. Okay, we're still in good shape. Queen e3. 3. And here... Oh, it doesn't work for some reason. Why doesn't it work? So bishop f7... because this knight e takes d4. Guess that's why it doesn't work. Bishop f2. Knight d4, yeah. That's right. Knight d4 is very good for white. I didn't see that move and didn't see that detail. Yeah, lovely. Okay. So, interesting. So I played a good game, and then I just blundered it with this queen sacrifice that doesn't work. So, you know, it wasn't my greatest moment in blindfold chess, unfortunately. I essayed an inaccurate queen sacrifice. Played the Faruja gambit, but it can't be accepted in this way. Move is knight d4. Removing the defender, which was responsible for the checkmate. And here, it's kind of difficult because if I don't recapture this piece, I've given my material back. My queen is pinned to my king. I mean, there's nothing better, is there? Queen takes f1, king takes, and bishop takes d4. And we are in trouble. I guess it's playable because we have got a bunch of material for the queen. So maybe there's a lot of play here. But yeah, that's definitely not what we wanted. But luckily for us, it did work out. Bishop f7. By the way, so rather than bishop f7, knight d4 immediately? That... now we can trade queens. Aha, that's why bishop f7 is so good. Because it decoys the king onto the f-file. Bishop f7. I should play king e7 here. That's the move. To maintain an advantage. But realistically, we shouldn't have played knight d4. But still. It just about worked out. So bishop f7, kudos, really good idea. But unfortunately, this rook takes f3 is just one move too quick. And that's a checkmate on the king's side. Nice mate. Very nice minor piece checkmate. The king's only flight square that isn't covered by our pieces is occupied by the knight. Very nice. All right, nice game. I got a bit lucky there, in all honesty. got a bit lucky. But yeah, nice pair of games, and I'd like to thank once again Tim Smith 121, friend of the stream. Also volunteers for the graphic design team, who are overworked, frankly, and they've been putting in a lot of effort recently. As you can see, they've changed the colour scheme. They had to meet in boardrooms to make these kind of decisions, and you know, that was not cheap. You know, and that's just the cost of their time. Got to factor in the rent of the room as well. You know, and the cost of redecorating it after all the parties and stuff. So that's why they really appreciate people going on Canva and just getting shit done. Anyway, it's been nice to return to full board vision. Thanks for your support. Thanks for the 12 people in Vanuatu. Don't know what time it is over there, but you know, good to have our viewers in the Southern Hemisphere showing how much they love live blindfold chess. It's been a blast. We've been essaying unsound queen sacrifices and getting away with it. And if that's the kind of thing you like, you should tune in again on Thursday at 7 o'clock. And we'll be doing more of the same. Until then, have a good week, and whatever you do, don't play the Fallujah Gambit.